we were discussing about the perception and right conduct. Perception of the world, right conduct, following these rituals, spiritual intentions, etc. These two, they go astray. They are not real. And then opponent asks, how do they go astray? Answer was given, just as an elephant magically conjured up is called an elephant, though it is non-existent, so also perception and right conduct, they cannot be cited as the ground for establishing the reality of reality. They, perception, seeing the world, following the rites, they cannot be cited as the ground for establishing the reality of reality. What is supremely real, on the basis of which the unreal notions of birth, creation, etc. are innate. Then he says, the appearance of birth, moving, etc. are attributed to consciousness, which is unborn. The souls are also unborn. Just as the firebrand in motion appears as straight or crooked, so the vibration of consciousness as the perceiver and perceived. Up to this, we have finished in the morning. Previously also, it has been said that the Atman is birthless and unmoving. The consciousness is serene, that he is showing through illustration. Aspandamanam alatam anabhasam ajamyatha aspandamanam vijnanam anabhasam ajamtatha. Just as the firebrand devoid of motion is without appearances and birth, so also consciousness devoid of vibration is without appearances and birth. Firebrand devoid of motion. When it is not moved, no appearance, straightness or crookedness. So also consciousness is devoid of vibration, without appearances and birth. So, it is an appearance, he says, it is only ignorance. Just as the firebrand that is devoid of motion does not have appearances of straightness, etc., and becomes free from appearances and births. Similarly, consciousness that seems to vibrate on account of ignorance. Consciousness seems to vibrate, not actually vibrating. On account of ignorance, becomes free from vibration on the cessation of ignorance. When ignorance is not there and does not have such changes as birth, that is to say, it will become birthless and motionless. Firebrand, that is devoid of motion, is says. When it is moved, then only you can see the round or the straight line or the crooked and whatever. Becomes free from appearances and birth. Birth of what? Straightness, crookedness. And he says that they don't merge in that. Because it is not the material cause. And again he says, when it is not moving, this straightness, etc., have not gone out again to come back. Says, a substance can alone get in or get out. But it is not a substance. So, in the same way, because of ignorance, the ignorant persons, they see the birth, etc. But our creation is only for the limiting agents. But as ether, there is no birth for Atman. Now he goes for the, and again he says, cessation of ignorance does not have such changes as birth. That is to say, it will become birthless and motionless. The Atman becomes birthless and the firebrand becomes motionless. Or the motion, the movement is seen in the consciousness because of the ignorance by ignorant people. That will not be there. In firebrand, how you can say that motions like straight and crooked are not there? Because how can you say the movements are not there in the firebrand? Then he says you cannot prove them. You cannot prove them. That way they are, that is why they are not there. Alate spandamane vai nabhasa anyato bhuvaha na tato anyat nispandan na alatam pravishantite. When the firebrand is in motion, the appearances do not come from elsewhere. Neither do they, when the firebrand is free from motion, go elsewhere. Nor do they enter again into it. Three things he is telling. In the firebrand, when it is in motion, the appearances do not come from elsewhere. It is the firebrand itself. But neither do they when the firebrand is free from motion. When it is not in motion, you don't see any. Or they go elsewhere. Or they come from elsewhere. So, and he says, they never enter into it. Why? Because in the firebrand, when we see the straight line or a curved line, it is not a substance. If it would have been a substance, it would have entered and it would have come out. Because it is not a substance, it cannot enter, it cannot go back, it cannot come from somewhere. So, when Uddalaka was telling Swetaketu, a man is sleeping and in a relative place, everybody knows that we had been to such and such a place and we have come from such and such a place. Now you are telling a sleeping man does not know. How is it possible? Sleeping man, in relative place, a man goes to particular place and comes back. That he knows well. But here you are telling a sleeping man does not know where from he has come. What is this? So, then he says, you see, the honey bees, they make the honey and you cannot distinguish from which particular flower, which particular portion of honey was made. You cannot distinguish where from it has come. Everything becomes one. In the same way, here also, he becomes one with. That also as if, because he is experiencing the happiness of the consciousness. Possessing possessing an agent of an ignorance, another to say. But the same happiness he is not feeling when he is waking up. Where from you have come? He simply says sleep. Where is the sleep? Where did you sleep? No, I don't know anything. I slept well. I felt happy. So, because of the ignorance, there he cannot distinguish the ignorance, the happiness and the separateness of agent. Three things: ignorance, separateness of the agent and where from he is coming. All these things. In the same way, here he says, when the firebrand moves, that we cannot say motion have come from other places. When we move the firebrand, we cannot say the motions or the movements have come from where? From outside. We are seeing the straight line and a curved line and a round. Where from they have come? Not from outside. When you move, you see. When you don't move, you don't see. Where they have gone? Where from they have come? You cannot distinguish. Only because of the movement of the firebrand, we see the straight line and the curved lines. But where from they have come? We can say because of the motion of the firebrand. But when you don't move, where they have gone? They were there. Where they have gone? Where? And when you start moving, again from there, they are not coming. So, the motion of the consciousness, the vibration of the consciousness is called ignorance. As the straight line or the curved lines, they are not going somewhere. When the firebrand is stopped, When it is started moving, they are not coming from outside. In the same way, there is vibration in the consciousness because of ignorance. In the firebrand movement is there. Here in the consciousness, ignorance is there. Because of the ignorance, we see the motion in the consciousness, the birth of the world, everything. When firebrand moves, that we cannot say motion have come from other places. The straight and crooked motions are understood that they are not coming from other places. When the firebrand is motionless, when there is no motion, or these things are not coming from somewhere else, that also you cannot say, because we do not see like that. They are not coming from outside. We cannot say the motions have merged in the firebrand. That also we cannot say, because it is not the material cause. Because it is not the material cause. If you think it is material cause, if cause is not there, effect also should not be there. The firebrand has merged in the moments are merged in the firebrand. He says it is not the material cause.
So the material cause is ignorance?
For the world it is ignorance, but there is movement.
So what is the material cause of a circle, for example?
Movement. It is the movement. We see, when you move, we see where they have gone when it is stopped. That is why he say the movement in the firebrand is like ignorance in consciousness. So when ignorance is there, you see the movement in the consciousness, you see the birth, you see so many things. When the ignorance is not there, all the saints, realized saints, they see nothing besides the Atman. So, if it would have been the material cause for the straight line or the curved line, if it would have been merged in that, then we can say it is the material cause. But they don't merge. And they are not coming from outside. Only because of motion we see. In the same way, because of ignorance in consciousness, we see the creation of the world or birth or whatever. This much. The whole thing we should not take as it is. There, in the firebrand, we are telling motion. Here in the consciousness, we are telling ignorance. That's all. It cannot be there as effect also. It is not there as effect also in the firebrand. You cannot tell the straight and crooked motions are there when firebrand is not moving. You cannot tell the straight and crooked motions are there in the firebrand when it is not moving. It is, you see, but if you say it should merge and it should come out, that is not there. So, in the illustration, the motions are considered as unreal because the straight line or the curved lines are not merging, not coming from somewhere else. The motion of the firebrand is considered as unreal. Kincha. To tell another reason, he explains the first line, he says. When the firebrand itself is in motion, appearances such as straightness, crookedness, etc. do not come to it from anywhere outside the firebrand. They are not come and remain in it. This is the meaning of anyatha bhavaha, anyatha bhuvaha, anyato bhuvaha. Neither do they go elsewhere leaving the firebrand when it is free from motion, nor do they enter into the firebrand itself that is devoid of motion. They are not entering it, they are not coming from outside, just when they are seen when it is in motion. They are not entering into that. They are not coming from outside. So, we just see when it is in motion. In the same way, in the consciousness, when ignorance is there, all the duality is seen. When ignorance is not there, because the consciousness is not attached to anything. It is not changing. It is not having any parts. Just like a part, it is not having a part, like clay, to make the part. So many things already he told about the consciousness. Now he says, you have to understand what that consciousness is through the firebrand. That is illustration. What you want to prove through the illustration? That only when ignorance is there, the ignorant people, they see so many things. When ignorance is not there, the realized person does not see anything. So, when the firebrand itself is in motion, appearances such as straightness, crookedness, etc. do not come to it from anywhere outside the firebrand and remain in it. So also, in the consciousness, the whole creation is there. So, let us go back to the first lesson. What is the first lesson? If consciousness is there, then only you see the world. If consciousness is not there, you don't see the world. And in seeming world, there is no consciousness. If rope is there, then only you can see the snake. If rope is not there, you cannot see the snake. In the snake, rope is not there. Very simple equation. So same thing he is telling here also. Now, we are going to the other karika. The straightness, etc. of firebrand are not entering it, nor come out of it, because they are not substances. The straight line which you see, or the curved line you see, in the firebrand is not a substance. So, what is the result? Are not entering it, nor come out of it. Is all right? Why? He says the straight line and the curved lines are not entering into the five brand, are not coming out of the five brand. Why? He says, because they are not substances. A substance can enter into something, can come out of something. And now again he is going to ask so many things about this only firebrand. You see, what the thinking of these great persons, who cannot imagine? Just taking one small illustration, that is, seeing the silver on the mother pearl, so much of discussion is there. The whole logic is only depending on only this much illustration. In the mountain, fire is there because you are seeing the smoke. But this much the main. These so many books they have written. Logic. So in the same way, just one illustration. What is the illustration? Here we are seeing the silver and the mother pearl. So many proponents are and disputants are sitting. Everybody gives his own idea. Khyativad, that we have already discussed. In the same way, now so many things, taking this particular illustration is going to tell. Why? He wants to confirm that consciousness alone is there, and whatever you see in that is only ignorance. This much he wanted to prove. Then, whatever you see is ignorance in the sense, what will be the result? Ajatavada. Only consciousness is there. Everything is imaginary, illusionary. न निर्गता लाताते द्रव्यत्व अभाव योगतः विज्ञानेपि तथैव स्युः आभासस्य विशेषतः. They did not go out of the firebrand, owing to their not being of the nature of substance. Why they don't go out? Why they don't come from outside? Because they are not the substance. If you see a quality cannot remain without the substance. But here, we are not comparing the fire and its quality of burning. We are not comparing with the illustration. That also at times he says, as you cannot separate the heat and light from the fire, so also you cannot separate anything from the consciousness. It is its very nature, self-effulgence. To that he gives the example of the fire. But here we have to take the straight line and the curved line, which are seen. They are not entering there, they are not going out, they are not coming out. So many. Why? Because the straight line which you see is not a substance. That's why we have to accept that ether is a substance. Why? Because we see the blueness, we see so many things, and the sound is there in the ether. It is carrying the sound, sabda sparsha rupa rasagandhaha. So, all the five elements are having five qualities. So, other four we can easily distinguish. But then, here one thing is remaining, there one thing is remaining. Here substance, that is quality. In that way, they prove that ether is a substance. A long discussion is there even in the Brahma Sutras. There he puts, I think mostly taking the opponent as the Jains, I think, or somebody else. He says, you say like this. That's why it is proved that ether is a substance. Like that he proves. Exact conversation I forgot. As we see in the illustration, so in Brahman, where he wanted to show the illustration. As we see in the firebrand, so we see in the Brahman. The creation, the birth are mere appearances. Brahma, he says, appearance. And what is that appearance? You cannot define. Where from the silver has come? You cannot define. So in the same way, here also, in the consciousness, you cannot define. They do not go out of the firebrand, owing to their not being of the nature of the substance. The straight line and the curved lines are not substances. Fire is there. Only we see the line. Line is not a substance. That is meant to say. In the case of consciousness too, the appearances must be same. For as appearance, there can be no distinction. So, how we see, that is why in the very beginning, what Vyasji says, he has given aphorisms, Brahma Sutras. The aphorisms which tell about the Brahman is called Brahma Sutras. So whichever aphorism you find, it should tell about the Brahman. Or a few aphorisms combined, it should tell. And what connection is there between Brahman and superimposition? Why you have started with superimposition? See. You are telling the heading Brahma Sutras. And you have started writing. Vyasji has not written anything about the superimposition. He never says. Afterwards in Sutra somewhere it may come. When the disputants say something, then he may tell that it is delusion. Maya matramidam, lila utkaivalyam. So many things he says. But now, in the beginning, Lokavatulila Kaivalyam. But in the beginning, where from you got this? What is the connection between the Brahman and the superimposition? Brahman is Brahman. Then he says, as we see in day-to-day life, that because now he starts, only two things are there. One is the inert and another consciousness. Consciousness cannot be the inert matter. Inert matter cannot be the consciousness. Yushmad asmat pratyaya gocharayo, he starts. That means he wanted to prove that whatever rituals or whatever things, whatever a realized person, whatever an animal, whatever it is doing, it is only superimposition. Simply just says in one word. Because of that, it is due to ignorance, and to remove that ignorance, these sutras were started. Here he very clearly says, those who are not having discrimination, for them Vyasji has started these sutras. So, for a discriminating person, one who sees only the consciousness everywhere, for him Brahma Sutras are not necessary. Vedas are not necessary. Nothing is necessary for him. Because he already is having that character, that it has become his nature to see only consciousness everywhere. So for him, what necessary is there? If you go to Raman Maharshi and say, have you read Brahma Sutras? How awkward it looks. So, for a realized person, nothing is necessary. But Shankaracharya says, all these things they have finished in their past life. The knowledge of Shastras, or the austerities, or the upasana, everything. This is their last birth. So they know everything. Whatever they speak, one word, it comes to Shastras only. Whatever they speak, say, so why we should go so far? Take Swami Shivanandaji. Whatever he says, it is just according to the Shastras. These realized persons, they never go against Shastras. Only the unrealized, ignorant persons, those who are behind name and fame, they only tell against the Shastras. This is my experience. I am telling, so you have to observe. No support of logic or no support of scriptures. They have. This Brahma Kumari, so many followers are there. What support they are having? It's just one old person is there, he is Brahman. Here we say there is no name and form. Where from we have brought him? No, he is there. Brahma Kumari. And another, that Radha Swami. Another cult. He says Radha Swami.
There are many.
Many are there. Without having the support of, but they cannot go against scriptures. Though they say, this is our doctrine, whatever is told in Gita or in the scriptures, same thing they tell the devotees to follow. Only they say, this is our doctrine. And they steal all the things from the scriptures and Gita and say, this is our doctrine.
మీ ముందు కూర్చున్నాడు ఆయన నోట్లో వేలు వేసి గోడలు
Swamiji, is it true that the Radha Swami teaching is based on the teachings of Guru Nanak? There are six,
That
no?
you see, exactly I don't know what Radha Swami teaches. I don't know what they teach. They keep it secret. The devotees, followers of Radha Swami, whatever instructions was given by their teacher, they say you should not deal. But they do say you should not take wine, you should not take meat, you should not, all these things, some of the. So these things where from they have taken? They have taken only from the scriptures. Suram na pibet. It is there in the scripture. Kalam jana bhakshayet. It is there in the scripture. So where they will go? Out of the sight of the scriptures. So, and Swamiji, I did not read anything about Guru Nanak or Radha Swami. So, I cannot tell. Because this, to some extent, I have read one book, what this Gurudwara, Guru Granth Sahib, synopsis I have read. They say the whole Guru Granth Sahib is according to Vedanta. So that much we can know. But these things, no knowledge. Not read about Guru Nanak, not read about Radha Swami. And Radha Swami, they never tell the devotees, followers, our Guru told to keep everything as secret. So what they have taught, that we are not going to tell. But some of the rules they give, that we follow. This much. And we are never worried about them and we never go to them also. So he says, the forms of crooked nature and the straight nature as well as the creation, all are appearances only. Says everything is appearance. The appearance is equal in both. There in the firebrand, here in the Brahman, or both. For that he is giving the reason. For that he is giving abhasasya visheshataha. The appearances must be the same. For as appearance, there can be no distinction. As simply they appear, there is no distinction, he says. They did not go out of the firebrand owing to their not being the nature of the substance. In the case of consciousness too, the appearances must be the same. For as appearance, there can be no distinction. Avisheshata. Now he is telling, the appearances did not go out of the firebrand as something goes out of the house, owing to their not being a substance. The firebrand, what we see, the straight line and the curved lines, they don't go out because they are not substances. And dravyatva, that is substanceness. If you translate this dravyatva, it becomes substance and substanceness, sweet and sweetness. Is the quality of a thing. If a substance is there, then only we can prove the substanceness. And a quality resides in the substance. Where the quality resides? In the substance. The act of going into it, now dravyatva is the quality of a thing. Its absence is dravyatva bhava. It is a regular visitor. So the absence of the substanceness is called dravyatva bhava. And then dravyatva bhava yogaha means owing to the absence of the quality of the substance. The act of going into it is possible only for things and not for non-things. So too are the appearances of birth, etc. in the consciousness. Since there is no distinction in appearance, meaning appearance is there equally in both. Appearance is there in the firebrand as well as in the Brahman. So, the appearance is not a substance. The appearance that which we see in the firebrand is not a substance. The creation of Brahman or the creation in Brahman is not a substance. Because it is partless, it is homogeneous, it is only consciousness. It is not changing. So many qualities told. But it is there. You see, a formless thing we can understand very easily. Formless. A formless thing we can very easily understand. Just like the electricity, it is formless. And previously also I told, this hunger and thirst, no form. And the happiness and sorrow, what form you will give for that? Huh? Can you bring some happiness and put here? Huh? So, do you say it is having a form? But you are accepting it is there. In the same way, though there is no form in Brahman, though there is no quality in Brahman, it is there. How? Your very existence is the proof of that existence of Brahman. If you are not there, then how can you can understand the existence of Brahman? So, that is why simply Shastra says, you are feeling the existence. I am there. That we call Brahman, but there ends the matter. Only one thing is there, that is yourself, that is all pervading, others are illusion. But finished, Vedanta over. Unreality in the illustration is only appearance. So, in the illustration, when we say, when the firebrand is not moving, we don't see, and if it is moved, we see. That means the unreality of the straight line and the curved line is only an appearance. He says, they are not substances. That is explained. The straightness, etc., are not substances. That is correct. Then, why do you say they cannot enter and come out? Now the opponent is asking. All right, we do agree what you say. It is not a substance that I too can see. Then why you are telling it is not coming and is not going? We see. How can you say? The opponent is asking. The straight line is not coming and it is not going. How can you say? That is, the opponent is asking. The answer is there. Vastunaha. Then he says, the act of going into is possible only for things and not for non-things. That's why we say it is appearance. Even the snake on the rope is appearance. The silver on the mother pearl is an appearance. The water of marriage is an appearance. So also, this also is appearance. And again what he says, so too are the appearances of birth in consciousness, since there is no distinction in appearance. Here also it is appearing, there also it is appearing. Oh, meaning appearance is there equally in both. Now, how is it equal? Is again asking. The quality in illustration and Brahman, which is told, is explained from the next 1.5 slokas, he says. So, the quality in illustration is firebrand, and the quality in Brahman, they are not there. But about that he is going to tell. In the consciousness, due to limiting agents, we see the movement. In the consciousness, tadejati tannaijati. Aged company. In Ishavasya, sloka is there, third or fourth. Tadejati tannaijati tad dure tadvantike tadantarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasya asya bhata. It is moving, it is not moving. How you are telling? If it is moving, it should not move. And if it is not moving, how can you say it is moving? But he says, it is moving and it is not moving. And it is nearer to the nearer, and it is far away. All these things. In Ishavasya you read. So, he says, why the movement is seen? Because of the agents. The ether is not moving when you are taking an empty part from this side to that side. Ether is not moving. But the ignorant persons, they say, it is moving. A man of discrimination says, it is as if moving. Dhyayativa lelayativa. So whether it is moving or not moving, ether, not moving. Consciousness, not moving. That much we have to understand. Because of the limiting agents, we see the movement that is not coming from outside. The movement is not coming from outside. To show the appearances of birth, etc. So, the actual consciousness is not changing. Now again he is catching hold of that dualist. He will bring again to refute him. What he told, hetu phala, reason and the fruits. What are the reason? Actions. What are the fruits? Bodies. So again he will bring that one. Now he is telling appearance, but he will. That is not noticed. That it is not coming from outside to show the appearance of birth, etc. That is not noticed. It is not famous. You see, the movement in the consciousness, though is seen because of the ignorance or the agents, he says it is not famous. And it is not noticed by the wise, nor when the consciousness is not moving, the birth, etc., you cannot see. First what he says, the consciousness is not moving like ether. When you don't see the movement, then you cannot see birth in it. Is it correct or not? Correct. Birth, etc., are not seen without consciousness. Now, our rule is coming. Without Brahman, you cannot see the world. So, the birth, etc., are not seen without the consciousness. The consciousness never enters. Tatsushtva tadevanu pravishati says, as if it has entered. That's all. The consciousness is all pervading. After constructing the building, do you think the consciousness entered into the building? Because it is already pervading. Only the things are there superimposed. Because they are not real and they are not permanent. The things that are superimposed are not real, they are not permanent. Whose body is permanent? Simply says, superimposing, this is mine, this is mine. So, whatever is superimposed, it is not real. That is why, to prove most of the persons, aspirants, they consider that world is real. So first from their mind, the unreality of the world should be told and the reality of the world should be removed. For that, he starts with adhyasa. Not the birth can, the consciousness never enters. The only consciousness is not the material cause of appearance. Now we see. The consciousness, if you take separately only consciousness, it is not the material cause for the appearance of the world. See, now go to the illustration. A pot is there in the clay. So clay is the material cause and potter is the instrumental cause. It's good. But for the Brahman, both material cause and the instrumental cause is only Brahman. Both. It is there only. How the world has come? Because Brahman is both the material cause as well as the instrumental cause. But if you just take out the illusion, the Maya portion from the Brahman, so only consciousness is there, that cannot be the material cause or the instrumental cause. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano nahanyatanyamane sarire. When he says the soul is not born and it is eternal, so in the eternal thing, how can you see a material cause? As it is. When you take the support of Maya, then only you see both the causes. So consciousness is not the material cause of appearance. The only consciousness, separately consciousness, is not the material cause. When it becomes material cause? When Maya comes. That's all. The only, not the birth, etc., cannot enter into the consciousness. The birth or the creation, they cannot enter into the consciousness. Then how the birth has come of the whole world? It is there in the subtle form. All the individuals are there in Brahman, which is all-pervading as the subtle bodies. So, when he withdraws the illusion, when he goes to sleep, that also is not there. As we go to sleep, what we see? Prajnana ghanaha. So everything has condensed. From that condensed state, taking the help of Maya, first he produces Ishvara. Then as soon as we wake up, all the impressions are coming out. So also, all the subtle bodies, they come out. Then he has created elements, and this is just to understand that before creation only Brahman is there. without Maya. Birth, etc. cannot enter into the consciousness or they come out of it. Consciousness is not in any way. That's why he say, Maya is the parinami udapadana karan. That we are telling illusion. That is why because of the illusion or the Maya, appearance is there. But when the appearance is there, then when you want to take it out, we don't find. In this way, they want to prove that only one thing is there. All other things are appearances. Because they are not substance. The appearance that we see in the firebrand, they are not substances. But how we see entering and coming out of the consciousness, he says, the dualist, he says that the creation has come out of the Brahman and again it is entering. Even you say, why you say, how you say, that he is asking. He says it is only illusion, it is only magic, as the magician. You see the magic and you say it is there. When he goes away, nothing is there. So it is only magic, he says. Now, we will go to the slokas. Vijnane spandamane vai nabhasa anyato bhuvaha na tato anyata nispandat na vijnanam vishantite na nirgataste vijnana dravyatva bhavayogataha karyakaranata bhavat yato achintya sadaivate. When consciousness is in motion, the appearance do not come from elsewhere. Neither do they, when the consciousness is free from motion, go elsewhere, nor do they enter again into it. They did not go out of consciousness owing to their not being of the nature of substance, for they ever remain incomprehensible on account of the absence of relation of effect and cause. So, incomprehensible. And it is not substance. And he says, you see only when the motion is there in the consciousness. That is due to ignorance. So, because of the ignorance, the appearances are seen, but they are not coming from somewhere else. When you see a snake, it is not coming from outside, elsewhere. Neither do they when the consciousness is free from motion. They don't enter, they don't come out, go elsewhere. When only consciousness is there, free from motion, they went somewhere. Where did the snake go? You have seen, because of ignorance, a snake on the rope. All right. And he says it has not come out from some, it has not come out. And when you see only the rope, where the snake has gone? You have seen?
There was never any snake.
So, in the present and in the past and the future, there is no snake. It is only an appearance. You do accept? In the same way, the creation, destruction, sustenance is only an appearance because of illusion. Illusion is there in the individual. Bas. Neither do they, when the consciousness is free from motion, go elsewhere. Nor do they enter again into it. We cannot, the snake has entered into the rope. That also we cannot say. Then it is not there. But it appears. They did not go out of consciousness, owing to their not being out of the nature of substance. Why they don't go out or come in? Because they are not substances. If it is a substance, say a silver and the mother pearl. If it is a substance, you should take it out. When you go there, but it appears. If it is not there, it should not appear. Why it is appearing? See, if silver is not there, it should not appear. If it appears, you should take out. Both things will not happen. Why? Because of ignorance, it is seen. Actually, it is not there. In the same way, because of the ignorance, we are not able to see the consciousness, we are seeing other things. Then he says, because they are not substances, but how we see entering and coming out of the consciousness, he says it is only illusion. We cannot define the cause and effect for appearance. How it has appeared, you cannot define. So, consciousness, so also the appearance is also undefinable of the Allah, that is. Because of the illusion of the appearances are seen, then we may have to tell that consciousness is with action. Now again, opponent has put, you see, appearance is there. Appearance means some action must be there. Then he says, if you say consciousness is not changing, and that is your desire, that consciousness is not changing, there cannot be the appearance of birth, etc. We see. Then he says, jatyadi abhasa. Because always birth, etc. can be thought of, they are only appearance. Now he is giving the collective meaning also, he says. So, we read the English translation. Everything relating to consciousness is similar to that relating to the firebrand. The distinction of consciousness consists in its constant motionlessness. In firebrand, motion is there, and in consciousness there is no motion. But this is the distinction. How the appearances such as birth occur in the unmoving consciousness is being said owing to the absence of relation of effect and cause, that is to say, on account of the absence of any logical relationship between the cause and effect, they ever remain incomprehensible. How they appear, you cannot define, that's all. They appear. That is why the non-dualists say anirvachaniya khyati, undefinable. See, one fellow says, it has come from the market and it is appearing here. The Nayayika says. And he says it was before, that's why it is appearing here. Sankhya says. But he says, you see, whatever you see, the silver, on the mother pearl, it is undefinable. Because you see, that's why he concludes it is ignorance, it is illusion. Where from it has come, how it has come, don't go. Where from I have come, why I should have come, why God has created, you will never get any. Undefinable. Now you are there, try to remove your ignorance and try to experience. There ends the matter. Why unnecessary discussions? Just as owing to the absence of relation of effect and cause, that is to say, on account of absence of any logical relationship between the cause and the effect, they ever remain incomprehensible, undefinable. Just as when the appearances such as straightness are unreal, the motion such as straightness is seen in the firebrand. Similarly, the notion of creation in consciousness, even when there is no creation, etc., is nothing but false. This is the collective meaning of the two verses. So, that's why he says, it is just like magic, the whole world. This is just like the dream. Because you are the seer, the dream is not there. Because you are the seer, the waking state also is not there. You are the seer, you are always the seer. You are the subject, you can never become the object. That's much.